Some people have proposed to do outdoor geoengineering research, but it needs to be regulated. There needs to be an environmental impact statement. And so an external group needs to evaluate the plans and certify that it will be safe, that the pollution won't be dangerous. They have to agree on how much material goes into the atmosphere, over what area, and for how long. If there is outdoor research, it has to be monitored, and people have to be able to measure what's going on. And then if they exceed the proposed limits, there has to be some sort of enforcement to stop it. Such a system of governance, of monitoring and enforcement doesn't exist today. So before outdoor research proceeds, such a system has to be developed. I can think of a couple small technical experiments. Can you load an airplane up with hydrogen sulfide or sulfuric acid and fly it up into the stratosphere and spray the material out and create aerosol particles that would be necessary for geoengineering? So you might want to propose that and then fly the plane back through the plume you created and measure what you did. Another thing you might want to do is, can you sail a ship through the ocean spraying salt out and brighten the clouds? And what would be the effects nearby? Would it suppress convection nearby and actually cancel out the effect? Neither of these things has ever been done. And so if it's impossible, that would be interesting to know. Then we can forget about geoengineering. People say it's cheap and easy, but it hasn't been demonstrated yet. This has been proposed, but again, it would have to be monitored and governed by an external group and not trust the scientists who want to do it to control themselves. Because what happens if they do an experiment like that and the results don't give you a really big signal? They're going to say, oh, let's just spray twice as much or for twice as long or over twice an area. You've got to be able to stop that and not allow the plans to be changed in the middle. There has to be some sort of governance that can restrict that. And such a governance regime doesn't exist today. People have said we have to do research on geoengineering, but what are the ethics of that? This is just my opinion. In my opinion, indoor research is ethical. We really need to know what the risks and benefits of research would be. This is by climate modeling, by building equipment in a laboratory. The ethical problems with that are that it could take resources away from something more productive, or it might be a slippery slope toward deployment. But I think the need to know outweighs those problems, and we need to be able to find out what the effects would be so we can make informed decisions in the future. As far as outdoor research, that's not ethical unless there's a governance regime in place to certify that it would not be dangerous to the environment. You're actually polluting for the sake of research. And so there needs to be some control so that the scientific information you would gain would outweigh any sort of negative impacts. And there needs to be a separate governing body to evaluate an environmental impact statement. There needs to be monitoring in place to measure what's going on, and there needs to be some enforcement. So basically, you need a lot of indoor research to develop the environmental impact statement before you do outdoor research.